Once I had gathered all my officials together, I shared everything I had learned and introduced Glenda to them properly. That meant accepting her into Tempest, but not blindly. She would be watched, and she would have to earn everyone's trust one step at a time. After what she had been carrying around, that was only natural. I also introduced her to Kaijin and Kurobe so they could examine her handgun. If Glenda was going to work with us, she needed a reliable way to restock ammunition. And, while I was at it, I could not help thinking that maybe we could make something like it ourselves. Not for general sale, obviously. Handing out guns to anyone with money was the kind of idea that aged badly in every world. But a licensing system for trusted people? Maybe. Important officials, special forces, emergency use only, that kind of thing. Also, I wanted one. Several days passed with that dangerously tempting thought in the back of my mind. Then, at last, the day of the Ruins expedition arrived. We were all set to go. Our expedition outfits were perfect, and I even had a prototype gun at my side. Kaijin had been interested enough to make a mold during his off hours. Dold carved a seal into it that used magical power to trigger a small explosion inside the chamber. No gunpowder, no ejected cartridges, just elliptical bullets, magic, and the kind of engineering that made my old-world instincts start grinning. The gun was about 1/3 of an inch in caliber and held 16 rounds. It used a blowback system, so each shot pushed the bolt back, loaded the next bullet, and reduced the impact of the explosive charge. The build looked almost toy-like, but its power was no joke. Even this prototype had the force of a .44 Magnum. That was thanks to its magisteel construction, which gave it excellent shock resistance, and the inscription-driven explosive charge, which squeezed as much power as possible out of each shot. Of course, the force depended on the bullets. Plain lead worked for normal use, while magic-infused mithril rounds were better against monsters. The more magic you supplied, the more the weapon could do, which meant it needed the right user to really shine. As a classification, it counted as rare, though it could hit about as hard as a unique. Kaijin's team had surprised even themselves making it. I would have loved to make it standard equipment for our new troops, but that decision was not something to rush. Honestly, this was the kind of thing we would normally avoid. I had mostly made it because the classic adventure feeling was too strong to resist. A gun on the hip, expedition clothes, ruins waiting in the distance. Every man needs a little of that once in a while. So, for now, it would stay as a lending item. We would only hand it out when we judged it truly necessary, like today. Carrying it around completed the look. "Ooh, this is really cool," Gobta cried. "The way it kind of recoils in my hands feels so awesome." See, Gobta and I shared excellent taste. These were supposed to be loaners, but maybe I could give him one as a present. You see what I mean, Gobta? But do not point it at people, all right? It is dangerous. Of course not. I will be real careful. He was overjoyed. Ranga watched from the side with obvious jealousy. "Sorry, Ranga, you cannot use a gun. I will give you a fancy scarf later, so make do with that." "Hee hee," Shion said. "I have Gorikimaru version 2 with me, thank you. Not to mention the clothing you chose for me, Sir Rimuru." "Shion, you are not going on an expedition dressed like that. Safety comes first." She really did seem to like the clothes I had given her. She wore them every chance she got, but they were fashion clothes, not exploration gear. A pity. Her head drooped, and she changed into her normal suit. That was not exactly ideal expedition wear either, but it was her battle gear, so I let it go.
"Rimuru, what do you think of me?"
Milim was practically bouncing in place. "Looks good on you. Definitely worth getting for today." Like Gobta and me, she was wearing expedition gear we had picked out for the occasion.
"You bet! It feels good and it is so easy to move in. Can you believe how many pockets it has? So cool!"
She was wearing shorts, which I was not sure was wise, but they suited her well enough. "They are cool. Be sure to thank Shuna, okay?" "Okay, that is right." So, with everyone in high spirits, we headed for our meeting point, the Free Guild headquarters in the Anglacia capital. From there, the plan was to travel to the puppet nation of Dhistav. Kagali was waiting for us at the front entrance. "Good to see you again," she said. "We have a lot to do today." "I guess this is the first time," Milim said. "I am Milim. Good to meet ya." "My name is Kagali. It is a pleasure to meet you as well." They smiled at one another and Kagali guided us forward. I glanced at Milim. Milim? I do not think there is any problem, but it is a little, Kagali gave us an odd look. She worked for Yuuki, so we were watching her just in case. I had asked Milim to check her with Dragon's Eye. Something had caught Milim's attention, but apparently nothing that screamed danger. It still bothered me, so I kept my guard up. Our team's all here, Kagali said, so let me introduce everyone. She rolled her eyes a little and led us to the expedition team. They were lined up in an open area near the guild headquarters, around 10 men and women in all. Kagali herself had trained them, and the more talented, experienced members were joining us today. They had volunteered even after being told we might be attacked. Some passers-by were giving them curious looks, but nobody on the team seemed bothered. They looked disciplined. Their equipment was the real thing too, not the make-believe adventure fashion we had on, but heavy, practical work gear. Thick upper and lower clothing, large backpacks, walking sticks, pickaxes, shovels, and tools suited to each person's role. "We will carry your equipment for you, Sir Rimuru," one of them said, "but where did you put it?" We did not have any, just these cool outfits. No, we did not prepare anything, it is just this. Huh? That is an amusing joke. Yeah, I knew how it sounded. "Look," she said, "you really should not have any skin exposed. You might get stung, and it is easier to get hurt that way, right?" She had a point. Work clothing did its job best when it covered the whole body, and Milim's outfit, honestly, was pretty casual. Milim said, "You think so? But my skin is protected by an aura at all times, so I will be okay." "Yeah," I said. "But do you want Kagali to get mad at you?" "You are just the same as her," Kagali snapped. "From my perspective, you are both far too lightly equipped. You are treating this expedition like a walk in the park." Oof, harsh. Was it really that bad? All right. We will be fine. I may not look it, but I have a lot of adventuring experience. More accurately, I had gone light because I had no need to camp outside. That would be easier to demonstrate than explain. "Well," Kagali said, "if you insist. But if you have any trouble, please let us know at once." I doubted we would have much trouble. We were treating the expedition like a fun outing, but we were not ignoring danger. I had made sure Gobta, Ranga, and Shion all understood that. "Right," Kagali said. "I have a wagon prepared for us, huh? We do not need a wagon, do we?" Kagali stared blankly at me. I stared blankly back. What? It would take something like 2 months to reach Dhistav by wagon. That was never an option. "What do you mean?" I asked the puzzled Kagali to take us out of town for the moment. Once we reached a deserted area, I used Dominate Space and opened a transport gate straight to Dhistav. I was used to this process by now. If I had been somewhere before, opening a gate there was easy. "All right, come on in. It will not disappear on you, so do not panic." The dazed expedition party started talking all at once. "You are kidding me. How far away do you think we are?" "Truly, a demon lord is an amazing thing." "Impossible. Most of our preparation has gone to waste." I felt a little bad about that, but hey, at least I looked cool. And just like that, we were in the puppet nation of Dhistav. The first people to greet us were the dark elves, lined up at the castle entrance and bowing deeply. "Welcome to Dhistav. You must be exhausted from your journey." The elder stepped forward. I called her an elder, but she looked maybe in her 20s. Blonde hair, dark brown skin, and a calm, graceful air. "Oh no, not really. But do you have rooms for us?" "Of course. We could provide individual rooms for each of you, but if necessary, we have larger group rooms as well." I had notified them in advance, so everything was ready. For now, the larger group room would do. "Okay, let's head to the group room first. We can keep our luggage there, and then maybe you can give us a tour around the castle today?" "Very well. I would be happy to guide you." The elder led us inside. I told the team to drop their equipment in the room, and they did so with the stiff, uneven steps of people whose brains were still catching up to reality. What is going on here? It has not even been an hour since we met, and we are already at our destination? This is insanity. I must be going insane." "What? Individual rooms? They are treating us like guests in this castle?" The expedition had already departed from their expectations in every possible way. Sir Rimuru has directed us to look after all of you, the elder said. If you run into any issues during your stay, please do not hesitate to inform us. She smiled gently at the stunned team, and that finally seemed to make the situation real for them. I watched them with a warm feeling in my chest. Then we toured the castle. It had once belonged to the demon lord Clayman, and the word opulence barely covered it. The dark elves maintained the whole palace, and everywhere I looked was spotless. This is going to be yours once the expedition is over, Milim, I said. But I think all these people still want to live here. Yes, I see that. Let us provide them with regular food and supplies. Thank you very much, Lady Milim. Do not worry about it. You are my people too, so if you carry out your roles, that is great. Wow, Milim was getting smarter. Frey's efforts were really paying off. Impressed, I asked her more about the castle and whether she had any concerns. The palace was enormous, with enough space for all the dark elves. There was no surrounding castle town, though. There were dwellings for magic-born, but those people were currently out working under Geld. The elves were maintaining those dwellings for when they came back. Eventually, the elder brought us to a particular entrance. And this is the entrance into the ruins. It is divided into 3 sections, with the deepest one serving as a crypt. Only the higher officials among us are allowed to enter, and only the demon lord Clayman himself knew what lies in the middle section and beyond. Hakuro had mentioned it in his report, but seeing it in person was something else. The ruin entrance was inside the castle. So you know how the top section is structured? Yes. All the treasure in the top section has already been recovered, so we are currently using the area for our residences. There were enough empty rooms in here to house over 1,000 beds. We opened the door and went in. It was supposed to be underground, but the space was filled with a soft light. What is this light? Ah, yes, the elder said. This is a perpetual magic-driven effect. It is synchronized with the passage of the sun, so it gets dark at nighttime. Heavens, one of the explorers breathed. Magic from the distant past is still operating today? This alone is a huge discovery, another said. It is being treated as normal here, but I would like to investigate it thoroughly. Is this magic active in the other sections? Yes. I had a glance deeper in when I accompanied Lord Clayman, and the central section was just as bright. The elder patiently answered question after question. I could see the expedition team's excitement building, and that energy started rubbing off on us too. Better stay out of their way, Gobta. Right, getting kinda nervous, huh? We whispered to each other while looking around the first section. The place looked lived in, so I could easily believe the dark elves called it home. Gobta looked toward the lower passage and frowned. So if you live in here, you do not see any monsters come up from below? Because if there is a crypt, I would expect ghosts and stuff. The elder snickered. No, there is no need to worry about that. There is only one door leading underground, and only Lord Clayman could open it. Milim raised an eyebrow. Well, if it will not open, let's just break it down. Certainly, Shion said. One swing of my blade and all shall be pulverized. No, we need to examine it first. Please, no breaking anything. I rushed in to stop the extremists before archaeology turned into demolition. Right, Milim said. Good point. Better be more careful than that, Shion. Yes, Shion replied. That was close. If I had not heard that, I would have lost hold of myself. That was exactly what I had been worried about, but at least they listened. We continued through the extensive ruins, past the Dark Elf settlement and toward a single large door. It was the same size as the first, but this one had an obvious magical seal on it. Kagali examined it and stiffened. This appears to be part of a defense mechanism powered by ancient magic. It might wake up the entire city defense system if we touch it. Defense system? Someone asked. Is it still active? We need to be careful, Kagali said. If we trip it, the expedition may have to be called off immediately. Her warning tightened the whole team's faces. I wondered how Clayman had opened this thing. Was Clayman involved with running these ruins or something? No, Kagali said. He only came to the forefront fairly recently. I doubt he was involved with them before then. I think he managed to undo this magical seal, I said. Follow the correct procedure and it should open without complaint. Yes. Even Clayman could handle this one if he had enough time. Did he not have a unique skill that suited this kind of thing?
Report. The relevant skill was Manipulator, the power to convert information into encrypted messages that can be sent and received.
Right, that one. He could probably use it to decrypt the data he saw, which would help him analyze and open magic seals like this. By the way, had I obtained that skill yet?
Understood. The skill was an inferior version of powers my master already possesses, so it was dismantled and absorbed as energy. As a formality, control terrain has been added to control laws.
No wonder I had not heard about it. If Raphael did not think something was worth reporting, she did not report it. But if Clayman could open this, I could open it too. Well, Raphael could. Same thing. This could be a long battle, one team member said. Quite a challenge to start out with, another replied. But this is still a good environment compared to what we have dealt with before. Let's settle down and start deciphering this. The team was definitely enthusiastic. Meanwhile, I laid my hand on the door. I could feel energy flowing through veins in the earth, spreading across the wall as it passed through the magic seal. I see. If we break down this door, it will knock out all the light in this section. The energy would be diverted toward eliminating intruders, and once everything was safe again, the system would heal itself. Something like that. Staying in operation for over 1,000 years. This is the work of a highly advanced magical civilization. If I had been alone, it would have gone over my head. But with all the support I had, following the structure was surprisingly easy. It was actually fun, like solving a puzzle. Working through the seal felt like filling in a worksheet of mathematical problems. Bit by bit, I figured out the opening method. Oh, here we go. Run magic power through here, and it opens an input window for an encrypted spell. I turned back toward everyone. The entire team was staring at me, jaws practically on the floor. Oops. I knew instantly that I had gone too far. It had just been fun to analyze, but this was their job. Sorry, I got carried away. No, Kagali said. Not a problem at all. She tried to comfort me, but I still felt like I had stepped on their toes. Putting in too much would be regrettable, so I decided to sit back and groom Ranga's mane for a while. With the group I had brought along, of course, that was wishful thinking.
I just solved it too!
Milim was already bouncing around the door. Oh? I am pretty stumped, I guess, Gobta said, scratching his head. Several team members were already debating, their voices bright and their eyes shining. Then Kagali asked the question that pulled me back in. Sir Rimuru, would you mind explaining how you deciphered this? I had been deep in a Ranga grooming session, but if she was asking, I had to answer. So, in front of an audience that was genuinely eager to learn, I explained the steps I had used. First, before examining the complete shape, you need to identify what kind of magical formula has been added to it. Then you divide that formula into individual sections. So you look for the newest spell first? Right. You figure out which formula keeps the complete shape from working correctly if it is removed, and then you repeat that while trying to grasp the spell's core features. After that, it is a matter of taking the correct answers and stacking them on top of one another. I see. So you remove the false data and keep the spells that work correctly? I had heard this was a team of elite explorers, and they lived up to the claim. They were quick learners. A little advice from me and their understanding deepened fast. With trap spells, I continued, they are usually complete packages in and of themselves. They are like leaves and branches coming out from the main tree, separate from the foundational flow. That assumes the main purpose of the spell is not to activate the trap, of course. So they are in the main flow of the seal, but we still cannot ignore them. Maybe all that experience teaching children was paying off. The team found my explanations easy to grasp. That success lifted my spirits, so I kept demonstrating my approach to magic seal analysis. In the middle of all this, Milim went ahead and completely unsealed the door. A few others followed quickly after her. Then the dark elf elder spoke up. Everybody, we have prepared dinner for you. I am sure you are tired from your long journey, so why don't we finish work for today? Only then did I realize we had reached evening. Right, The real expedition could begin tomorrow. Okay, want to stop here? Sounds good, Kagali said. It feels strange describing it as a long journey, but we can get down to business starting tomorrow. With that, our first day of work ended. The next morning, Kagali formally opened the door, her fully equipped team lined up behind her. Blue light flickered and the door slid silently aside. And there we go, the team cheered. Well done, I said and stepped inside. The middle section was not as bright as the upper one. The glow was dimmer, coming from candlesticks set into the stone walls. They were not real candles, of course, but another impressive piece of magical technology. As I walked along, Milim came up beside me. It feels a lot more oppressive all of a sudden, huh? Yeah. The ceiling is lower and the stone walls feel like they are closing in. The corridor is narrow too. I bet this is set up like a maze. The corridor was maybe 6.5 feet wide. 2 people standing shoulder to shoulder would feel cramped. Milim and I were small enough that it was not an issue, but the team members carrying large packs behind us probably had a rougher time. Sir Rimuru, someone asked, who should we have up front? If this place was a maze, we would need to choose paths at every fork. Traps might be waiting too. We can detect traps for you as the leaders. Do you mind if we stay in front? If you do not mind handling that for us?
Sure thing! With me around, you are safe no matter what shows up.
Milim gave a confident nod before I could answer. No one objected, so we took the lead, with Kagali and her assistant behind us. Shion and Gobta guarded the rear of the team. Ranga stayed in my shadow, and the elder remained by the door. I was already looking forward to dinner from her tonight. I walked forward at an easy pace, using magic sense to survey the path ahead. The corridor was stone, but murals appeared on the walls now and then, and they were beautiful. Wow, these murals alone have a lot of artistic value. Do they? Milim asked. Sure, they must show scenes from ancient times, so researchers will love them. They are probably worth a lot. Thinking about it, they do remind me of things I saw way back when. Right. To me, this was the far past. To Milim, it might be more like nostalgia. That would make anyone emotional. We needed to be careful with the expedition. I did not want to add fresh damage on top of the wear and tear of time. Our exploration continued smoothly, with no obvious booby traps. Eventually, we stopped for lunch. All right, one of the team members said. I will begin cooking then. Oh wait, the elder made box lunches for all of us, so let's go with those. I stopped him before he could start a campfire and took out enough lunches for everyone. It probably looked like I had conjured them from nothing, but I had kept them in my stomach. That preserved them perfectly, which made it very useful for long journeys. Is that even possible? I heard people whispering about me. Let them. They accepted the boxes readily enough. Ooh, this looks good, Milim said when she opened hers. The menu was sandwiches packed with vegetables, eggs, and smoked meat. Dark elf cuisine used rich, heavy sauces, and this one was almost like mayonnaise. It softened the hard buns nicely. For anyone still struggling with the bread, there was vegetable soup in large wooden bowls, made with a hearty chicken broth that worked its way into the vegetables and gave the whole meal a satisfying body. I have lots more, so do not be shy. The moment I said it, team members mobbed me with empty bowls in hand. Milim was first in line, so I guess she approved. We almost never get food this good outdoors, Kagali said. You are making us a very happy team today. I could not help feeling that she was needling me a little. I had just resolved not to butt in too much after all. If she thought this was cheating, I hoped she would overlook it. Well, you know, I would like to avoid using fire in this place if we can. Fire? Right. We do not want a fire getting out of control down here. And besides, we are underground. I think the ventilation is good so far, but just in case. You were thinking that far ahead? I would not worry so much outdoors. That was the truth. This was a tight corridor, and there was no convenient water source. If something happened, we might not have an escape route. Box lunches were the safer option. Also, bathroom breaks. By the way, if any of you need the bathroom, I will set up a transport gate back to the entrance. Take care of that during lunch, okay? I opened the transport gate. Some of them stared at me like I had to be joking, but really I was trying to avoid a worse problem. They might have done their business behind a rock otherwise, and this path eventually led to a crypt. I did not want to profane it. I think you are worrying too much, someone muttered. The dead might not care anyway. No, Kagali said. I think we could learn from that. It was nice to have her agreement. While everyone took their bathroom break, I turned to Kagali. Hey, is it all right if I try something real quick? What is that? Coming from you, I would really like to know. Well, in the labyrinth I run, one popular strategy right now is to rely on elemental communication. You need to be a shaman or elementalist to access it, but it lets you quickly discover the best path to take. Really? Because that sounds convenient. Oh, Kagali did not know about that? I guess you would not unless you were deeply involved in that field. Hey, a woman called. I am a shamaness. Can you tell me more about elemental communication? Lucky break. I had felt a little self-conscious about casting the spell myself, so this was perfect. The volunteer was versed in spirit magic, and I gave her a quick lecture. Oh, okay, yeah, I get it. She was aligned with the wind element, which made communicating with spirits fairly smooth for her. Wow, she said. Now we really will not get lost. The path dead ends up ahead, so we need to go back 3 intersections and turn east. But this is going to be hard to map. True. If you relied on the spirit's voices constantly, you would exhaust the communicator. You needed the path on paper. Of course, Raphael could create maps for me with absurd accuracy, enough that I could print them onto paper like I had used map-making software. But wait, was there not a magic spell that put any diagram you imagined onto paper? I had definitely seen something like that in the book 101 Wild and Wacky Spells.
Report. Search complete. The relevant illusory magic is thoughtography.
That was the one. It was funny. There were so many useful, important spells I did not know, yet nonsense like this stuck perfectly in my brain. My memory was better than it had been in my human days thanks to my slime body, but with things like this it felt like my old human mind had never left. Hey, does anyone here know illusory magic? I am a mysticist, a young man said, still in training, but okay, try learning this spell for me then. Also, my friends and I use thought communication to share ideas with each other. That made things easy for us. But if I wanted to teach something like this to a regular person, magic was still the best route. I had just the thing for a time like this.
Suggestion. The best option would be the illusory magic channeling.
Ooh, there was that, huh? So I taught the young mysticist thoughtography and channeling. He tried them right away, and soon he was drawing maps with ease. Wow, we will never get lost now. In fact, if we use this magic, we could draw out the full structure of these ruins. This will make future expeditions so much easier. Well, I was glad everyone liked it. A map is fine, Kagali said, but it will not show traps or magic-driven mechanisms. Do not drop your guard. Her order brought the excited team back to Earth. Impressive. She had noticed that danger without me needing to warn her. For the rest of the day, we decided to push toward the bottom of the middle section. We reached it before dinner. Day 3 began in front of the door to the third and final section. We split into 2 teams. One would work on disabling the magic on the door, while the other continued exploring the middle section. I had given them an on-site tutorial the day before, so today I was mostly supervising. Milim, Gobta, and Ranga joined the exploration team. Not much to do, eh, Sir Rimuru? Shion said. In that case, why do you not make drinks for the workers? Right away! Shion was right. I did not have much to do, but the team still asked questions now and then, and I enjoyed answering them. Shion cheerfully set up a table and poured coffee from a flask into the cups she had lined up. It was oddly moving. Not long ago, letting Shion touch anything that might go into your mouth had been absolutely forbidden. All set. Care for a quick break, everyone? We settled down for a short rest, the team enjoying Shion's coffee and a moment of peace. We were still watching for possible attacks, of course, but nothing had happened yet. Hopefully I was overthinking it. But now that I was away from Veldora, Maribel and her cohorts might see this as their chance. If they were going to act, it was now or never. I needed to stay sharp and see how events moved. I also needed to watch Kagali and her team. I ran a quick analyze and assess, but nobody looked suspicious. Their abilities matched what they claimed, and I saw no sign that they were under anyone's control, whether through their desires or any other means. If they were brainwashed, then my eyes or Raphael's eyes were deceiving me. I felt safe dismissing that possibility. Still, what if they were not brainwashed at all? What if they were following orders they genuinely believed in? That was possible too, so I could not fully relax. But none of them seemed like a threat to my life, so I sat back and enjoyed my coffee. After a while, Milim returned with a mountain of stuff.
Rimuru, look at this! I found so much booty!
To be accurate, she was riding on Ranga empty-handed. Gobta and the other team members were the ones loaded down with treasure. Check it out, Milim said. They are all so perfectly infused with magicules. This alone ought to be a huge harvest for us, huh? She was right. Most of the haul was battle equipment. In their own time, they had probably been fine weapons made by skilled artisans. Over the years, the magisteel in them had settled and transformed, vastly improving their abilities. Ooh, you are right. There is not much artistic value, but a lot of this stuff could still be used today. Right? And look, this one has to be a unique. It was. Extremely valuable. Also not the sort of thing anyone should casually find lying around. My suspicions started rising. Where did you find these? I doubt Clayman left them untouched for no reason. Well, Milim said. There was actually a trap I set off by accident, and a bunch of golems came lumbering up to us. They were carrying all this. That sounded like something I should not ignore. You set off a trap? Ah, no. It went off the moment I stepped into this one corridor. I think even you would have had trouble avoiding it. Yeah, Gobta added. We used magic to detect traps with every hallway we went down. We were not being careless or anything. Milim and Gobta insisted they had been careful, and the rest of the team backed them up. They were not lying. Something must have been programmed with very specific biological life form patterns, repelling intruders who did not match. If you did not know the acceptable wavelengths beforehand, deactivating it would be impossible. The only realistic method through was force. Sounds like you had no choice. Some of these traps are pretty complex, huh? Oh yes, Milim said. It sure taught me a thing or two. We should set something like that up in our own dungeon, a corridor that only allowed pre-selected people through. Maybe this whole section of the ruins had been built to keep people away from the crypt. Then perhaps we should assume there are many other golems carrying unique weapons, Kagali said. Their weapons must have evolved right in their hands while they stood on standby for so many years. It is boggling to think about. She was right. It was a good thing we had Milim and Gobta with us. If the expedition team had come alone, the golems might have killed them. Nothing happened yesterday, I said, but I bet there are more traps like that in this section. No need to panic, though. Let's act even more carefully from tomorrow forward. Right, Kagali said. It will be a while before we finish analyzing the door, so tomorrow. The earth shook before she could finish. A gigantic burst of energy tore across the region, including the ruins around us. Rock fragments fell from the ceiling, adding stress and fear to the sudden jolt. What was that? We have to get out of here. It is going to cave in. Kagali raised her voice. Pipe down. That was just a single jolt. It is not an earthquake. A structure this solid will not collapse that easily. Stay calm and begin evacuating. Her command restored order quickly. The team really was well trained. So what was that? Gobta asked, somehow still cool as a cucumber. Some kind of shockwave just ran across the surface, I think. A big one, too, so it might have affected the palace. I had a transport gate ready if needed, so I was not panicking. Still, Kagali was right. This was not an ordinary earthquake. It was a localized energy blast, which meant someone had caused it. Just as I started thinking about returning to the surface to check, my instincts reacted.
Report. Hostile force detected. At this point, the ruins defense system has activated. A large number of golems are now active. Other intruders are also entering the ruins.
Alarms began to blare, followed by a mechanical voice. Intruders into Amrita detected. Eliminate at once. Intruders into Amrita detected. Eliminate at once. The repeating voice made the danger perfectly clear. The surface was no longer guaranteed safe, and we had an emergency inside the ruins too. You are kidding, Kagali said, her calm expression cracking. Did Amrita's defense system just go off by itself? There are intruders coming inside, I said. Maybe they set off some kind of trap. Too bad the golems will not listen if we tell them we are not involved. And frankly, I was starting to doubt Kagali herself. She was right near the door. Maybe she had set off the defenses while I was not paying attention. And the timing was too perfect. Other people entering the ruins just as the alarm went off? That had to be deliberate. You notice anything, Milim? No, I did not hear a thing. Milim could pick up all thought communications and magical conversations around her. Hiding from her was almost impossible. I had wondered if the intruders were connected to Kagali, but maybe I had jumped to conclusions. So was Kagali innocent?
Report. Cannot reach a conclusion. If there is a soul corridor connection, hidden thought communication remains possible.
So I still could not relax. I really hated having to protect a potential spy while dealing with enemies. If she had been kind enough to reveal herself and abandon us right then, it would have made things much easier. No such luck. We are in a bad situation, I said. I think the intruders must be from the organization coming after me. It is really true. So that earthquake too? But what kind of fools would take on a demon lord? The team seemed honestly surprised. I did not question their motives. I would just have to protect them while fending off the enemy. Do not worry, I said. I promise I will step up and keep you all safe. They looked at me in surprise. That was a little mean. Did they think I would abandon them in here? We had been getting along pretty well, so I had hoped they trusted me more.
Just what you wished for, huh, Rimuru?
Yeah. Though I am not sure whether they caught me or I caught them. We will find out now. Just as Raphael had predicted, the enemy took the bait. I would not ask how they got in. With the kind of talent they had available, sneaking past the dark elves above would be simple enough. Well then, we could use this chance to end things. I had anticipated it, and I had thought through how to respond. There was no reason to panic. We quickly moved into our planned intercept positions. Then the second tremor came. What is that? Gobta said. I really do not like the sound of that. Even Gobta was worried about what was happening outside. But I did not have time to answer, because now I could see it. An ominous dragon was advancing from the faraway sky. Whoa, that is real bad. It was hard to observe from inside the ruins, but I used magic sense to follow the magicules outside. There I saw a dragon as vicious as they came. It looked like Veldora from the outside, but larger overall. Its skin was ragged and festering, almost rotting off, and its enormous aura was exploding out of control. One look told me it held a massive amount of magicule energy, far beyond what an awakened demon lord possessed. This was catastrophe level. That bad? Yeah. It looks like a dragon, but it is way beyond an archdragon. Stronger than a dragon lord, probably. Maybe one of Veldora's siblings. Sir Veldora? It sat outside the usual framework for dragons. My only guess was that it might be a true dragon. But it did not have Veldora's grandeur or personality. Maybe grandeur was the wrong word for that doofus. But this dragon felt fundamentally different.
That.
Milim's eyes went wide.
Rimuru? I think I have business to take care of. That dragon...
She stared into empty space, then vanished with spatial transport. Judging from her panic, I could see where this was going. If Milim was freaking out over something, it was usually tied to something she had done in the past, which meant the enemy had found one serious skeleton in her closet. I really cannot believe this, but I think that is Milim's dragon friend, the one she sealed away long ago. It was not resurrected. Someone unsealed it and is controlling its will now. What? Is that true, Sir Rimuru? Yeah, I can feel these intense shock waves. Not even I might be able to beat it. I was telling the truth. Charybdis, born from the remains of Veldora's power, was like an insect compared with this. The hatred and rage pouring from that dragon were overwhelming. I doubted it would ever stop until it destroyed the entire world. And the scariest thing was that all of its emotions looked painted black in my mind. Maribel's emotional takeover skill was controlling it. A chaos dragon, Kagali murmured. I never thought I would see such a tyrant in this day and age. I agreed completely. Thank heavens Milim was here. I was sure she could beat it and put it back to sleep. Then I would not have to worry about the sky. For now, we had our own problem to handle. Gobta, Shion, we have guests to welcome. Roger that, I am on it. Those puny little dolls are no match for me. I considered opening a transport gate and evacuating the expedition team to the surface, but I did not think we had time. An organized legion of golems was already bearing down on us at full speed, right in front of the door.